Hello friends, I'm here with my lab assistants, Willie and Amos, and we're going to do a couple experiments with you today because today is Tuesday and Tuesday is STEAM Day. So, some of you who have been in STEAM class for a while have played a fun game I like to play called Sink or Float, where we put things in water and we guess whether they will sink or float, and then we find out for real. And we're going to do a game like that today with kind of a new twist. So I'm going to put some water in each of these jars, and it's the very same water. It's warm water, so if you touch it, Amos, you'll notice it's warm. It's faucet warm. It's not like stove warm. And there's just about the same amount in each, and the jars are the same. Amos, could you do me a favor? Could you pick up that little cup of salt? Now this is 3 tablespoons of salt, and Amos is going to dump it into one of those. You could choose, I suppose. Very good. Now, Willie, could you take one of those spoons and stir it up?
It looks like a sandstorm in there.
It does look like a sandstorm in there. And it has changed the way the water looks, so that's a mixture of water and salt. Go ahead and stir it. Nice job. And this one's just plain old water. So we found a few toys from around the house, and I'd like to see which ones sink and which ones float in each of these. Now maybe you'll guess at home, and they are a little different. There's my hint to you. Salt water is like the water in the ocean. If you've ever tasted ocean water, it tastes like licking a potato chip. Tastes very different than the water from your faucet. Willie, if you wanted to stick your finger in there and taste it, you can. It's not delicious, but it's not too gross. It's a little different, right? Okay, could you take the spoon out of there? We're going to try our first object.
Can we try the ball first?
That's okay with me. So set down the spoon, and let's have Amos first. Put the ball in the plain old water. That's the clear one, the one by you. Wait, okay. Perfect. This ball floats.
Yay.
Okay. So I want each of you to guess, and our friends at home to guess too. If we take it out, and don't do it yet, and put it in the salt water, will it sink or float?
It's my turn. My turn.
Okay, Willie, put it in the salt water.
Floats.
It floats in there too. Okay, so this ball floats in both. Here, I've got a spoon. I can get that out here. Now I'm going to dry this off. Let's try the little airplane. Amos, can you take it first? Now, first guess. Is it going to float in the regular water?
Sink in the regular water, or either one.
Amos, pick it up and put it in.
Sink.
Okay.
Sink, yeah.
Sink. Now, Amos, could you hand it to Willie? And Willie, could you put it in the salt water? But first guess. Oh.
Sink. I knew it was going to
You knew it was going to sink all along, huh? Okay. This toy sinks in both. I'm going to get this one out with the spoon. All right, now we have one more toy. And all of these are plastic toys. They just have slightly different weights. And that, do you see this little bowling pin? This is pretty hysterical.
It sinks.
It sinks. Okay, hand it to Willie.
Sink, I know it.
It isn't.
Willie throws it in, but something strange is happening here. It's sitting on the top of the salt water. Now we need to talk about why. The little bowling pin sinks in the regular water because it's heavier than the water if the water was the exact same size and shape. But the water changes when we put salt in there, and the water becomes heavier. So the same size and shape of salt water is a little bit lighter than that bowling pin, so it goes to the top.
Now, it is time for the raisins.
Okay, Willie, could you take 2 of those raisins and put them in the salt water? And Amos, could you take 2 of those raisins and put them in the regular water? And we'll see. Now, I don't know what the raisins are going to do. I haven't tested them. They're for another experiment here in a minute. All right. Go ahead. So
I can't even see it.
Amos put them in
I can't
the regular water and they sink. And Willie put them in the salt water and they sink. But we're going to try to put them in something else. And if you've been in STEAM for a few years, you've probably seen this experiment before. I'm going to come over here.
Floating underwater.
It's floating underwater?
Yeah, it's floating.
It's kind of hovering a little. That's
Yeah,
neat.
It's hovering.
Let's see if we can get it to do
And
something
that
else. Are
one's
you ready?
in the-
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm taking regular old water, but I'm gonna blast something very special into it. Bubbles! And these bubbles are carbon dioxide. I'm putting a lot in there. Now I've got bubbly water. That's seltzer. So I need a couple little helpers for this one. I'm gonna move these jars, Willie. You leave that raisin right there.
I'm just trying to get out.
Now your next job is to put that little pile of raisins in the middle, and I need both boys to very carefully take turns putting raisins into the seltzer. I cut these raisins in half to make them a little bit smaller.
Ooh, that's cool.
What is that raisin doing?
You crazy raisin.
This is always one of my favorite experiments because there's just so much action.
This is cool.
Get a couple more in there.
It's like the current that brings it up.
So it kind of feels like the current bringing it up, isn't it? You know, it kind of is. What's really bringing it up is bubbles. They're like teeny tiny little life vests because everybody knows that bubbles float, right? Air is lighter than water.
So wait, can we put a bowling pin in?
Yes, but not yet. Wait, one more second. Did you get all the raisins? Let's watch them
Yeah.
swirl around. I don't know what that bowling pin will do, but I do know that the bubbles stick to the raisins and they carry them up to the top. And when the bubbles get to the top, they leave the water and they go right out into the air. And the raisins lose their little life jackets and fall right down to the bottom. And then they have to wait to get more bubbles. You see that bubble just lifting the raisin right up?
Oh yeah, that was like a parachute bubble.
And pop.
Pop.
And then it'll come back down. But sometimes it takes a minute. Pop and back down. Pop and back down. All right, throw that bowling pin in there. See what'll happen. I have no idea.
Oh, it's doing the same thing as what the raisin said. And
Oh, interesting. Now remember that bowling pin sinks in regular water. And it floats in salt water.
let me try that. Wait.
And it's floating in bubble water too because the bubbles are pushing
Hey,
it up.
can we just do like a real experiment and just like put the salt water in? Like a no.
You want to add that to the seltzer? Oh, that might make a mess. Let's find out. Put just a little bit in there.
Amos,
Unplanned experiments.
can I see that for a minute?
Actually, I'm gonna put some back.
Amos, could you let Willie borrow that scoop? He's got a really cool idea. I have a guess about what will happen, but I'm gonna stay quiet over here so we get surprised. Try a little more.
Okay, I'll try a little more. Like this much?
Sure.
Like pour it all? So it's picking up the current, isn't it?
I notice that it makes more and more bubbles come out of the water because the salt is taking their place. And when the bubbles come out of the water, they're bringing some of this stuff up with them. Oh, there goes a raisin back down. I'm gonna put a little salt directly in there, as long as we're trying new things.
Ooh, that looks cool. Now we're not gonna even be able to see it.
Ready?
Ooh.
Salt water can't hold as many bubbles as regular water, so they all had to come out.
Ooh, I know. Why don't we add some real salt water?
So I hope some of our friends at home enjoy watching this experiment and some of the funny ones that we've come up with at the end here. You can try this at home, and you can try your own experiments at home too. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Can you wave to our friends?
Bye.
Goodbye, guys.